You fear yourself. We all do. I know I did. And that would be natural because the self who we are is never here. We're always having to access it. And it's something we do throughout our lives and we do it over time. But we do that in our consciousness as well. But what happens is when we are afraid, we don't want to go into the unknown, that the unknown of who we are. We don't want to do self-discovery. We don't want to look inside because we're afraid of what we might find. And I know that really well because I was afraid of that. And then when I started discovering that, I was still afraid of giving it to others because now I'm going to have to be judged, is how I felt. Many of us do that. I was listening to Tony Robbins, a short from Tony Robbins today, and he was saying the same thing I did, talking about fear, false evidence appearing real. I talked about that in my book as well, because I know that is the thing that stops us. And he said, too, that's the only thing that stops us. And if we weren't afraid of ourselves, we would have everything we wanted. We wouldn't have no problems. We wouldn't have any difficulties in our lives. We would manifest and create everything. But most times we're afraid to do that because we don't think we're enough. We don't think that we have it. And I can really cop to that because I know that I've done it. And I did something so different in my life because I healed my entire life. I just did it because I sat down and I received information. It wasn't just for me. I was connecting to my higher self, which we all have the ability to do when we choose to do that. But we will do it in different ways. And what I did is I sat down every day and I received information. But still, telling others and saying that this works. 2 years ago, a little more than that now, I said, I have this program and it can transform your life and it can take you to who you're supposed to be. You will be happy. You will be confident. You will find your purpose. And it's less than $500. And people said, no, that's not possible, even though people have done it. And you can listen to the testimonies and you see people have done it. Now, I could never explain that either because we don't know what we have. It shows up over time. I posted something today saying that I wrote this, it came through, and it said, ascension is a choice. It is. Ascension just means that we come to a higher level of understanding of who we are. And that is something that we can only do when we decide to look at that, what we've been holding back that's within us, and then we have a new understanding of us. But again, takes time. Now, what the weird thing was for me, and that's how it felt for so long, no longer, because I know where our world is going and how helpful this work is going to be for so many people who are afraid now because they're changing. You're discovering new things about yourself. So I'm going to read this message that came through 3 years ago on this date, because that's how my guides like to give me information, because it says, they say, listen, if we give you dates, then you can understand there's a continuity that happens in consciousness for all of us and for our collective world. Now, everyone's not going to do this. Everyone's not going to want to look and uncover their true, authentic self, their connection to source or God or whatever it is. Everyone's not going to do that. And that's why we have wars. That's why we have conflict, because as long as civilization has been around, we're not all willing to move to a higher state of understanding of ourselves because of our past programming. That's all that it is. But I'm going to read this message. It's a little long, but I want you to have all of it because it will have you understand a little bit more of what might be occurring in your life, why you're feeling out of sorts, why the world looks the way that it does, and how you can take better control of your life and become the person you're meant to be and stop fearing who you are, because that's, again, what we all do. But this is the message, and I'm going to read the entire thing because, like I said, it's a tiny bit long, but you will appreciate it. You have feared your power. That sentence is not meant as a judgment, and this message will be an explanation. When we say power, it is not about some physical strength, but it is about your ability to manifest and create whatever you want in your life. We are describing a natural state of evolution and the restructuring your world and you are experiencing. This message is a bit long, for it is essential, and we place it with another. But if you take the time to understand them together and the timing, you will find comfort. Roger's having difficulty with this transmission, for he knows it must be authentic for it to be effective. Like you, he has not come has not quite accepted the abilities and talents he has, but you each intended to improve upon them in this lifetime. Each of you is experiencing this now, and it is unnerving. It feels to many of you that the pandemic is a source of your fear, but we would offer it as is far more than that. Of course, stressful times cause each of you to access talents you have let lay dormant. And during this restructuring, the energy is more intense, so your confusion is elevated. We will tell a story that will have all of this make sense. During Roger's webinar last week, one person attended that Roger noted was intently focused upon him throughout the presentation. There was an energetic connection made, which they both knew. This person then scheduled a consultation that occurred yesterday. Immediately when they began, we took over and told them why they were there. Roger said he knew they were frightened as they could not explain these new sensations and thoughts and were confused about what they might do. Roger said, "That is why you are here. I know that I attract those who need guidance and assurance as they are awakening to who they are." Then the person asked a question, and we will now speak to them directly as we feel they will read our words. You asked if you could achieve something, and we said yes. The reason you asked is that you knew we would affirm what you already knew. Now, it will be your job to offer your understanding and ever-growing awareness to others. We know this particular transition is challenging for many, but we will offer more assurance. In January, we told Roger what was ahead for him and intimated he would discover it soon. And this was before his awareness of the pandemic. We will post it here, for it will offer a sense of relief to some of you. You are not here accidentally, and things are progressing nicely, and you will be fine. January 15th, 2020, you are afraid of the light. We brought Roger to this quote from Plato this morning, and we will explain why. The full quote is, "You can easily forgive a child who is afraid of the dark, but the real tragedy of life is when men are afraid of the light." We will begin with the premise that there are no coincidences or accidental events that occur in your life. If you do not know this or come to believe it, you become a victim in your life rather than a victor. We can be poetic at times. Here is the story. Yesterday, Roger met with his friends and that we mentioned he hadn't seen in years. Because of this, they wanted to know about his life's journey. Roger joked and said, "I will give you the Cliff Notes or a consolidated version." He couldn't believe all the experiences of every shape, manner, or form that as he did. When Roger returned home, he needed to finish a biography of sorts for the group he was working with. At first, he sent his work and career history, and then they asked for his accomplishments. Now, these two experiences strung together caused him to recognize that he had been afraid of the light. Roger said, "I couldn't have had this life unless I was meant to do something with it meaningful." Then last night, a friend asked for an energy healing as they were in excruciating pain. Roger knew he could accomplish this, but had been afraid to practice it. He did it brilliantly. Then this morning, he picked up his program, which he began creating more than 4 years ago and has yet to complete. Roger discovered everything we had given him, which could aid so many others if he would stop being afraid of the light. That sentence is meant for all of you without exception. Oh, we almost forgot. It is not accidental that Roger and you are receiving this message on this day. Figure it out. I've done this for 35 years, and I sat down and I received information. And again, it seemed really crazy. But when you understand consciousness, we all have it. We will just access it in a different way. I accessed it precognitively, but the difference is everything that I accessed and have written all of these years works. That's why my program works. That's why you hear people saying that they couldn't believe what has happened for them doing it. And again, I can say this forever in a day, and every coach knows this. People won't hear it. You won't believe it because you don't think it's possible. Again, that's programming, that you couldn't do it before. And so you think this couldn't work for you. And as I said many, many times, I knew that if I could have charged, like, if I would have charged $5,000 for it, everyone would have gotten it, because then you think, oh, wait a minute, I have to have this. But when I'm saying you can do it for less than 500, that doesn't seem believable, even though you're hearing that many, many people have already done it. And I'm just going to keep taking it further because, as that message said, again, I've not finished anything. We never finish as long as we're alive. But for me to be in this place now in my life and having this kind of healing that I've done in so many different ways, I have to give that to others, because that's how our world evolves. But you will do the same thing. We all will. And we will get through this period when more people decide to stop being afraid of who they are and take some action and own their authentic selves. All right. See you soon.